Okay, so I'm recording as well, so you can listen to it again. So for the term project, and it was somewhat of a lacking on my end because I should have explained a bit more after I gave you the guideline. Okay, first of all, there are 3 submissions for the project. With the last submission, you will submit the presentation as well. Okay, the next submission is due next week. You are required to give me your group name so I can make a group for you in the Microsoft Teams of the course. If you go back to the course, if you have already given me your names, you will see a group with the initial TP. So that is the term project group which I have created for you. Okay, provided that you have already given me your names. If you didn't give me your names, then you will not see any group assigned to you with TP. Okay, and now remember, I'm not talking about the groups which I made for the tutorial. Okay, not those groups. I'm talking about the groups which I have created with the initial TP. Okay, so if you don't see any group with TP in your name, and those groups are only accessible or visible to the students who have given your names and who are in that group. So if you are in TP1, so only you can see TP1, no one else, and you can only see TP1 because it has your names. Okay, so all submissions will be in your respected groups. Okay, first of all. Now, the first submission, I cannot explain all the 3 submissions right now because we have not covered those topics in the class. Okay, so first of all, I'm trying to explain to you what you have to submit for the first submission. You have to give me your name, sections, IDs, and email addresses. First of all, it will be like a mini report. Don't send me text messages and messages on Teams. Okay, make it like a Word file, a mini report, and you send it to me. So your names, IDs, sections, and email addresses. First thing, your location in words as well as a Google map. Okay, in words you will write the name of the highway and if there is any important or known location near it. Okay, for example, we are doing Sheikh Salman Highway near Mercedes showroom, something like this. Okay, so the Google map will show me the map and then there will be some the location will be written in words as well. Okay, so this is the second thing you have to do. Third thing which is required for the first submission is you go to your location for 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Okay, now you will have either 2 members in the group, 3 members in the group, or 4 or 5, whatever. Some of you will be counting vehicles for 15 minutes. This is their job. The other, whether they are 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, they will be recording the speed of the vehicles, whatever they can. There is no restriction of number for the people who are recording the speed. Now for recording the speed, there's an app which is called as Speed. Okay, it's available in Apple, it's available in Play Store as well, and I have used it. It was free till last year. Somebody was telling me that it's not free, but you can look for, if one app is there, that means other apps are also there. Okay, or if you don't want to use the app or you cannot use the app, simply mark a distance on the highway and record the time on the stopwatch, and then distance upon time will give you the speed. Okay, so so this is a trial run for the project. In the trial run, you are required to go to the highway for 15 minutes. Some of you will count number of vehicles, others will record the speed of the vehicles. There is no restriction on what day you have to go, what time you have to go, and so on. Now, some of you may have read that you have to collect speed samples for 62 cars for the second submission. If you want to take all 62 cars right now, then you need to do it in a time which is low volume. Okay, but it is not required at this stage. You can do it for the second submission. Okay, like I told you, I cannot explain each and everything right now for all the submissions. I'm just explaining to you that if you want to take all 62 cars right now, which are required for the second submission, not now, but if you want to do it, you have to go to the highway at a time which is a low volume time. Okay, where the volume is very low, people are going at free flow speed. They don't have to follow anyone. They don't have to be in the queue and so on and so forth. Okay, you may have noticed in the guidelines that people who are taking who are in 2 or 3 in the group, the guidelines are slightly different than people who are in a group of 4 or 5. Okay, so your work will be more if you are in a group of 4 or 5. Okay, just keep it in mind. But these steps are same. The location is changed. People who are in groups of 4 or 5, they will be selecting a T intersection. People who are in a group of 2 or 3, they will be selecting a highway. But the details which they have to give me in the first submission are the same. Okay, they have to do the same work. The extra work will begin from the second submission onwards. Okay, now some of you are bothered that our location will be conflicting with someone. Don't worry about that. It's not your headache. It's my job to tell you if the location is conflicting, and I will do it after the deadline. So you need to complete your submission with all respects and submit it to me in the group and the team, your group and the team. And once all submissions are completed, then I will check them. If there's a conflict, I will let the group who submitted afterwards to change their location. So there are two groups having the same location. The group who submitted first don't have to change. The group who submitted second has to change. Okay, and so on and so forth. So that's why I will ask you to hurry up, make your submissions in the group, and don't wait for me to check it. I will not check it. Some of you are already sending me the Google images and so on. I'm not checking it right now because I will check it. I will say yes. Before you make the submission, some other group has already uploaded the complete file of the first submission. Now, obviously, they will have the priority. So although I said yes, but you have to change it because you did not submit. So what I'm saying is, don't expect me to check your locations right now, because I will not check it, and even if I check it, I cannot be 100% sure that you submit before somebody else submits. Okay. Secondly, once the deadline is complete, that means all groups have submitted. So at that time, if you ask me, doctor, can we change our location from A to B, so I know that B is not taken by anybody or B is taken by someone. At that time, I would know because all groups have submitted. So if at that time if you ask me, then I will give you a more informed guideline. Okay, informed advice. Okay, at that time I don't know which group is choosing which one. I don't know. Okay, so I will. Okay, and be assured, I will not deduct your marks if there is a conflict. I will not deduct your marks if there is a conflict, and you will get extra time after the deadline to change your location and submit it again. Okay, don't worry. If obviously you are in the same group, you have been studying for I don't know how many years, so you may know other people who are. You can ask them personally, but don't wait. Don't wait for me to give you the green signal, and don't wait for everybody to submit. You submit, and that's it. You do your work and submit. Okay, I don't want to hear or read from one of you at the last day, doctor, should I submit this location? I will not respond to you. Believe me, until I have your full submission, I will not respond to you. The good thing which is happening this semester is, alhamdulillah, even if you are submitting 1 minute after the other group, I know. Okay, because earlier obviously I was taking the manual or the hard copy, so obviously I cannot keep a track of minute to minute. But you are submitting on Teams. I know you submitted on 12:01, somebody else submitted on 12:02. So the earlier you submit, better for you. Even if you submit earlier by 2 minutes, you have the edge, you have the advantage. You may not have to change. Okay. So questions? Apart from asking what I'm drinking, Steve, any other questions? I have responded to the questions which were coming to me by email or messages, but I thought I should explain it further here. If there are no questions, then I will go for the lecture. We were covering lecture 3, which was about traffic stream characteristics, and then we talked about macroscope and microscopic parameters, and we were talking about volumes, and volumes can be daily volumes or they can be hourly volumes. So today, last time we talked about daily volume. Let me share the screen here. So this is the example which we did last time, and we calculated 4 different types of average daily volumes. One was AADT, which was for all the days in the whole year. Then there was AAWT, which was taking all the days, all the weekdays in the whole year. Then ADT, taking all the days for less than 1 year, for this example, 1 month. And then taking all the weekdays for less than 1 year. And again, this example for 1 month. Okay. Now I will talk about hourly volume. So last time I told you daily volume is used for prediction and finding out traffic trend and so on and so forth. Hourly volume is used for design and management of operations of traffic flow and control devices. So you want to manage or you want to design a highway, design a traffic signal, design a roundabout. You will ask me for hourly volume. Hourly volume, so there are different hours in the day and each hour has its own volume. You will pick up the volume for the hour which has the highest volume, and that hour is known as the peak hour. Okay, so hourly volume used for design is the volume coming in the peak hour. What is the peak hour? The hour of the day which has the highest hourly volume. Hourly volume is given as directional volume. So if I say 5,000 vehicles per hour, so I am giving you volume of one direction. Okay, so this is another difference between daily volume and hourly volume. Daily volume was combined for both directions. Hourly volume is only for one direction. So why are we taking one direction volume for design? What about the other direction? Normally, in most of the cases, if you take the volume for one direction, the volume will reverse in some other time in the other direction. For example, 5,000 people are going in the morning from A to B. These 5,000 people will return at some other time from B to A. Okay, so if you design one direction according to that volume, the other direction would be fine because it will carry the same volume. If there are some highways on which the difference in volume is very high between both directions, and it's not it's not alternating. Okay, so in that case you can nowadays they have a concept of reversible lanes. What is a reversible lane? It's a lane in the middle of the road. Okay, so instead of having 4 lanes, 2 in each direction, you will have 5 lanes. Okay, instead of having 2 lanes, 1 in each direction, you will have 3 lanes. So then there's an extra lane in the middle of the road, and that lane can reverse its direction according to the demand. So if there is high demand going from east to west in the morning, that reversible lane will be for direction east to west. And if there is high demand in the evening to go from west to east, then this lane will take the direction of west to east. So there will be an electronic board on top of the lane, and before you enter the lane, you have to see at the board that at this time this lane is used for which direction. Okay, so they call it reversible lane. We will discuss it a bit more when we are discussing the highway capacity analysis. So if you feel the direction and volume is not alternating in both directions, one direction has constantly high volume, you can use a reversible lane. So that will, unequal number of lanes basically. Okay, because one direction will have 3, the other will have 2. Okay, so you can use it like this. But normally both directions have equal volume, but in different times. Okay, so so if both directions have different volumes at the same time, if you are counting number of vehicles at a particular time on the highway, one direction will have more volume, the other direction will have less volume. Which should be taken for design? The direction which has more volume. Okay, the direction which has more volume should be taken for design. Understood? So the final volume which is taken for design is called as directional design hourly volume. That's the name which you have given for it. Directional because it's for one direction, design because you are using it for design, hourly volume because it's per hour volume. Okay. Now let's say you are the consultant and I'm the your client. Okay, so I'm somewhere in the Ministry of Transport or somebody in the Ministry of Works. I'm giving you the task to design a signal for me. So you ask me for how many years you want the signal to work. I said 20 years. So you will ask me, okay, give me the hourly volume after 20 years. So the problem is I don't have hourly volume for the 20 years. I have daily volume. Remember, I told you for forecasting and planning, we use daily volume. So I have a value of daily volume. So I need an equation to convert daily volume into hourly volume. So this is the equation you see on the slide here. Okay. So A is the daily volume and DDHV is the required directional design hourly volume which we need. So using this equation, you can convert the daily volume into directional design hourly volume, where A is any type of daily volume. Now why I'm putting A here, why not AADT or ADT or AWT or AAWT? Because it can be any of those four things here. A can be any of those four things here. Whatever is available to you and whatever is given to you, you will put it as A. So if I give you AADT, then instead of A, you will put AADT. If I give you AWT, then instead of A, you will put AWT. So any of those things, all of them are daily volume, right? So in terms of units, they mean the same thing in the equation. Okay, so that's why in the equation I'm putting a general term here, which is A. Okay, because if I put ADT, then every time you will ask me for ADT. ADT is not available all the time. So whatever is available, we'll put it in terms of A. Whatever type of daily volume is given to you, average daily volume, you will put it here. Okay, then D and K. D is the proportion of traffic coming in the peak direction, and K is the proportion of traffic coming in the peak hour. Okay, so out of the total daily volume which you have gave me, what is the percentage of traffic coming in one direction, and what is the percentage of traffic coming in 1 hour? That is the maximum hour, the peak hour. Now this is the table which gives me the values of K and D, and you can see the values of K and D they have the ranges for each type of area. Okay, and then within the urban area we have further sub classification of type of highway. So the main classification, the main difference between the values is because of the type of area. So we have talked about rural, suburban and urban areas. Suburban is the area which is near the boundary of the urban areas. Okay, and if you go towards the urban areas, and you will see within urban areas, so I'm talking about now the urban area which is towards the central location. Okay, the commercial hub, the center of the city. So in that area, so it is away from the suburban. Okay, so it's that part of the urban area which is close to the center. So in that part, you can have two types of highways. You can have radial or circumferential. Radial comes from the word radius, and we know radius goes from center towards the circumference, right? So a highway which is taking you from the center of the city to the outside edge, that is the radial route. Okay, so if you are designing a highway like this, then you use the K and D ranges, which are these. And if you are designing a circumferential route, so circumferential comes from the word circumference, and you know circumference revolves around the center, right? Circumference revolves around the center. So if you are designing a highway which revolves around the center of the city, that is circumferential. And if you are designing a highway which goes from the center of the city towards outside edge, that is radial. So for each case you have the ranges of K and D. Now you can see when we are going from rural to urban areas, the values of K and D are decreasing. Okay, and we already know when you go from rural to urban area, the population increases, traffic increases. So when traffic increases, we should take lower values of K and D. This is the final outcome there. Okay, which we can get from this table. Okay, rural area has less population, higher factors. Urban area has more population, lower factors. Okay, so why is that? Because when the population is higher, traffic is more uniformly distributed between both directions and between different hours of the day. For example, if the population is higher, then you may have same number of people who are going from A to B and B to A in the morning as well as in the evening, because there is business on both sides of the route. Okay. Similarly, in urban areas, you would find that there is obviously one peak hour, but even after this peak hour or before this peak hour, the traffic is not changing by that much. So in the peak hour, you have like 8,000 vehicles. Maybe after the peak hour, you will have like 7,800, 7,700, something like this. Okay, so there is less variation in traffic even around the peak hours, even hours which are not the peak hours. Okay, so that's why. So there's less variation. The percentage of traffic in the peak hour is less, and similarly, there's less variation in terms of direction as well. Okay, so if the traffic is higher, population is higher, the traffic is more uniformly distributed, and the factors, the K and D factors are lower, and vice versa. Let us consider this example. We are designing a rural highway. Keep in mind, rural highway, and we have a forecasted 20-year AADT. So we know we have predicted the average annual daily traffic after 20 years will be 30,000 vehicles per day. Okay, using the data from table 5.2, meaning K and D values. This is table 5.2. What range of directional design hourly volumes, DDHVs, are we expecting for this situation? So they are asking for a range. So that's why they are saying volumes, not volume. The range meaning I have a range for K and D, right? So use the full range of K and D to calculate multiple values of DDHV. Okay. So for a rural highway, the range of K is from 0.15 to 0.25, and the range of D is 0.65 to 0.8. And this is in this table. Okay. See, rural highway 0.15 to 0.25, 0.65 to 0.8. So if you take the lower values of these K and D, then you will get low value of DDHV or the minimum value of DDHV. If you take the higher values from the range of K and D, then you will get the highest or the maximum value of DDHV. So you can see the values are here. I multiplied it and I got 2925 the minimum and 6000 maximum. Okay. Now you can see the difference is very large. It's for the same location, rural highway, but the difference due to the range of K and D is very large. Okay, 2900 is less than 3000, and 6000 is like double of 3000. Okay, so by changing the value in the range, you can significantly change your design hourly volume. So which value should I take from the range? Best case, easiest case, most convenient solution, take the middle value. So instead of 0.15 and 0.25, you take 0.2. And instead of 0.65 or 0.8, you take 0.72 something. Okay, that's the middle value. So if you don't know anything about the area, just take the middle value. Okay, or I already gave you the rule. If the location has higher population, you take the lower value from the range. If the location has lower population, you take the higher value from the range. So they are inversely proportional. Okay. So within the rural areas, let's say this one was a major rural area. It is still a rural area, but as compared to other rural areas, it is a major rural area. So you will take a higher value of K and D. Okay, the higher value from the range. And if the population of the rural area is smaller than an average rural area, you take the lower value from the range. Okay, so the main thing is the population of the area. But if you don't have the idea about the population, just pick the middle value. Okay, now we will talk about sub-hourly volume, what we earlier called as flow. Flow or sub-hourly volume means the same thing. Okay, but we will use flow more often because I already told you that volume can be daily or hourly. So if it is sub-hourly, less than 1 hour, that we will use the term flow more often. Okay, now for prediction and traffic trend, observing traffic trend, I use daily volume. For design, I use hourly volume. Then why do I need flow or rate of flow? We have talked about rate of flow earlier as well. Because in some cases, fluctuation within the hour can cause a breakdown or a traffic jam on the highway. Although the capacity of the highway is sufficient to take the total demand. Okay, I will show it to you with an example. But fluctuation means what? For example, you tell me 6,000. If I take this example, 6,000 vehicles per hour, right? And each hour has how many minutes? 60 minutes. So per minute volume is how much? 6,000 upon 60 will give you 100 vehicles per minute. 100 vehicles per minute. Will I have 100 vehicles passing on this highway per minute of the peak hour? No. 6,000 vehicles is total in the hour. But within the hour, maybe in the first 2 minutes, maybe in the first 2 minutes, 300 vehicles have passed. In the next 5 minutes, maybe 600 vehicles have passed. In the next 10 minutes, maybe just 500 vehicles have passed. So within the hour, the traffic is not coming uniformly. Okay, vehicles are not following each other. Okay, it's not like, okay, after every 2 seconds I will have the next vehicle. Maybe one vehicle pass, and for the next 2 minutes there's no other vehicle. Okay, it happens. And then for the next 2 minutes there are hundreds of vehicles passing. It can happen. So within the hour, traffic does not pass uniformly. Okay, every minute you will not have the same number of vehicles. Okay, because of this fluctuation, the highway may not be able to fulfill its capacity. It may have a traffic jam, a breakdown, even before the number of vehicles reach its capacity. How? Let me show it to you with an example. So let's say on an highway, I have counted volume from 5 to 6 p.m. Normally, within the hour, we count, or the hour is divided into 15 minutes intervals. So you see, there are 4 values, one for each 15 minutes interval. Okay, so if you sum up all the 4 values, you will get the hourly volume, which is 4,200. So from 5 to 6 p.m. I have observed 4,200 vehicles. Now what are these values? Values which are taken for each 15 minutes. This is what we call as flow or sub-hourly volume. So this is the value of flow. So I have taken 4 15 minutes flow values, and if you add them, you will get the hourly volume, 4,200. Now what are these values? This is what we call as rate of flow. So I have taken each value and converted into an hourly rate. So you take 1,000 and 15 minutes. So in 1 hour, you will get 4,000, right? Now you can see they have divided each value with 0.25, or you can multiply with 4 as well. Both will give you the same answer. Either multiply 1,000 with 4 or divide 1,000 with 0.25. Why? Because in 1 hour you have 4 15 minutes interval. So multiply by 4 should give you the hourly rate, or 15 minutes is 0.25 of 1 hour. So you divide by 0.25, again you will get the hourly rate. So in this table, you can see flow, which are these 4 values. You can see hourly volume, which is the summation of the full volume of the hour, all the flow values for the hour, and you can see the flow rate as well, where I have taken each value of flow and converted into the hourly rate. Okay, so you can see all the 3 values we have discussed up to now. Now let's say the capacity of this highway is 4,200. If the capacity of this highway is 4,200, that means 4,200 vehicles should be able to pass from this highway in 1 hour, right? Capacity is per hour, vehicles per hour. So if the capacity is 4,200 vehicles per hour, then this volume should be able to pass from this highway. Okay, but I will show you in the next slide, it will not be able to pass, and I will tell you the reason. So 4,200 vehicles per hour means how many vehicles in 15 minutes can pass? So 4,200 divided by 4, right? Again, because each hour has 4 15 minutes intervals. So 4,200 divided by 4 will give you 1,050. So if I have designed this highway for 4,200 vehicles, then in each 15 minutes I should be able to pass 1,050 vehicles. 4,200 vehicles in 1 hour means 1,050 vehicles in each 15 minutes. Okay, and again I have just divided the value of the hour by 4 to get the capacity for each 15 minutes. Okay, now let us see how this will work. So 1,000 vehicles, so I am taking the same data which is recorded here. Okay, so when 1,000 vehicles come to this highway in the first 15 minutes, they are less than the capacity of this highway, so they will be able to pass without any problem. Okay, so 1,000 arriving, how many can depart? 1,050, no problem. 1,000 can pass, because 1,050 can pass or 1,000 can pass. In the next 15 minutes, 1,100 vehicles are arriving. So arriving vehicles are 1,100. How many can depart? 1,050. More than 1,050 cannot pass, because this is the capacity, right? Okay, consider a water bottle which has a capacity of 1 liter. Okay, so if the capacity of the bottle is 1 liter, you can only put 1 liter into the bottle. If you try to put more, will it go into the bottle? No, it will flow out. Same thing will happen here. Out of 1,100, 1,050 will pass. The other, how much is the difference? 1,100 minus 1,050. 50 vehicles. So 50 vehicles will get stuck on this section in a traffic jam. They will form a queue, a SUF, okay, on the section. Then next 15 minutes, 5:30 to 4:45, 5:45, 1200 vehicles are coming. So out of 1200, how many will pass? 1050. 1200 minus 1050 will give you 150. So out of 1200, now 150 will get stuck in traffic jam. And remember, 50 are already stuck there in a queue from the previous 15 minutes. So 150 out of these and 50 from the previous interval, total 200. So at 5:45 p.m., 200 vehicles are in the traffic jam on this section. Then in the last 15 minutes, 900 vehicles are coming. Okay, so these 900 are the vehicles which are arriving in this time, but 200 are already there. So 900 plus 200, 1100. So out of 1100, how many will pass? 1050. Okay, so 1050 will pass out of 1100. So 1100 minus 1050 will give you how many? 50. So these 50 are still stuck in traffic jam at the end of the hour as well. How much volume came in this hour? 1000 plus 1100 plus 1200 plus 900. The total was 4200. Remember, I showed you in the previous slide. The total is 4200. If you add these numbers, the capacity of each 15 minutes, this will also make it 4200. Volume arriving 4200, capacity 4200. But did these 4200 vehicles pass from this segment? No. How many passed? Out of 4200, 50 are still stuck in this section. So 4200 minus 50, 4150. So out of 4200 vehicles, 4150 vehicles have passed and 50 vehicles are stuck in a traffic jam. Okay, so you did not fulfill your capacity. Your capacity was 4200, but because you did not, you were assuming that in each 15 minutes same number of vehicles will come. So because of that, you could not accommodate this fluctuation from one 15 minutes interval to another 15 minutes interval. And because of that, in the end, only 4150 vehicles passed from the segment. Okay, so this is why we had to, or we need to cover sub-hourly fluctuation, and we need to know the flow rate as well. Now, how do we use this flow rate to enhance my capacity? Okay, so first of all, like you will, I've already asked you to get the volume for 15 minutes. So first of all, you need the flow value for 15 minutes interval within the hour. So you will have 4 values of 15 minutes interval. Okay, 4 flow values. Out of these 4 values, you will pick up the one which is the highest one, and you convert it to flow rate, and we call it the peak flow rate. So if I go back to this example, see, I have 4 values here, one for each 15 minutes. Okay, which is the maximum one? This one, 1200. And what is the flow rate for this one? 4800. Now remember, this is flow rate, not volume. Volume is 4200. This is flow rate, which is for this period. Okay, so 1200 divided by 0.25 or 1200 multiplied by 4 will give you 1400. Okay, so you pick up the peak flow rate. See, peak flow rate. And you see in this example, they are saying take the maximum 15 minutes value, multiply by 4. So multiply by 4 or divide by 0.25, it will give the same answer. And take hourly volume and divide by this number. Okay, the peak flow rate. So hourly volume was, in our case, hourly volume is 4200. Peak flow rate is 4800. 4200 divided by 4800 will give you, for this case, 0.875. What do we call this ratio? We call this ratio as peak hour factor. This ratio is known as peak hour factor. So when you are designing, you will not use hourly volume. You will use hourly volume divided by peak hour factor. So hourly volume was 4200. If you divide by 0.875, how much you will get? 4200 divided by 0.875. Anyone? 4200 divided by 0.875. How much you are going to get? 4800. So instead of using 4200, you will design for the hourly volume of 4800 vehicles per hour. Okay. So if you're designing for 4800, then you will not have any problem. Okay. So peak hour factor range of 1 to 0.25. For urban areas, it is close to 1. Okay, so 0.98, and for rural areas, it is very much less than 1, which is 0.7. Okay, so again, the same rule is that if the traffic is higher, population is higher, then peak hour factor will be close to 1 because the traffic will be uniform. If the traffic is lower, the population is lower, then the peak hour factor will be far from 1 because the traffic will be non-uniform. Now, when you will get 1, you will get 1 if all 15 minutes interval have the same value of flow. So going back to this example, if all these 15 minutes interval have a value of 1000, 1000, 1000, 1000, then the peak hour factor will be 1. Okay, so if all flow values are the same, then you will get the peak hour factor of 1. And when will you get 0.25? If all the you have flow in only one interval and the remaining intervals have zero flow. Okay, so going back to this example, let's say there were 1000 vehicles from 5 to 5:15 p.m. and then all the other values were 0, 0, 0, 0. Then in that case, peak hour factor will be 0.25. Okay, so 1 means all 15 minutes interval have the same value, and 0.25 means all 15 minutes interval have zero values except 1. Okay, except 1. So there's the vehicles are coming in just one interval. The remaining intervals no vehicles can. Then you will get the flow as 0.25. Okay, so again the same concept. When all 15 minutes interval have the same flow, that means what? Traffic is uniform. So the peak hour factor is 1. So which happens in urban areas, so it is close to 1. Obviously, it will not be exactly 1, but it is close to 1. And in rural areas, the traffic is not uniform, so it is far from 1. And the extreme is that you will get 0.25, which is theoretical value. It's a theoretical value. You may get close to 1, but I don't think you will ever have a highway which has a value which is close to 0.25. So you can see here, even for rural areas, it's 0.7, which is far from 0.25. Okay, which is much higher than 0.25. Okay, so these are the this is about peak hour factor. So I will stop here and we'll continue in the next class. Do you have any questions? Otherwise, I'll go for attendance. Okay, Fatma Abdali. Fatma Abdali.
Doctor.
Yeah, Zainab, you have a question? Yeah, anyone have a question? Zainab, you raise your hand for the question, I think, or just for the attendance? Okay. Fatma Abdali is here.
Yes, doctor.
Zainab Abdali. Okay. Zainab Abdul Al. Okay. Isra Abdul Karim. Isra Abdul Karim. Okay. Amal Abdullah. Al Abdullah. Amal Abdullah. Okay. Ali Abdul Razak. Ali Abdul Razak. Okay. Oh, okay. Latifa Ahmad. Latifa Ahmad. Okay. Ali. हकीमा अली, जैनब अली, जैनब अली, जैनब अली अहमद, ओके। एलिजबेथ एन, ओके। मजद बशर, मजद बशर, मजद बशर, अब्दुर्रहमान इब्राहिम, ओके। अबू बकर गनी, अबू बकर गनी, ओके। नदीम हुसाम, ओके। अब्दुल्ला हुसामुद्दीन इज हियर, अब्दुल्ला जलालुद्दीन, ओके। हमद खालिद, हमद खालिद, ओके। अली मक्की, अली मक्की, ओके। अली मोहम्मद, अली मोहम्मद, आमना अहमद, आमना आमना मोहम्मद, सॉरी, आमना मोहम्मद, आमना मोहम्मद, ओके। इब्राहिम मोहम्मद, अली मुस्तफ़ा, मोहम्मद नोमान,
Yes, Doctor.
ओके। मोहम्मद उसामा, have updated your names, it's good. So there are no like similar names now. Dua Rabi, Dua Rabi, Dua Rabi, Zahra Riyad, Salah, okay, you are here. Ala Salman, Ala Salman, Zahra Sayyid Ali, Zahra Sayyid Ali, okay. Dua Rabi, Majd Bashar, and that's it. Dua Rabi and Majd Bashar. Majd Bashar is here, okay, fine. Okay, anyone from the other section? Anyone from the other section? Ahmad Amin, okay. Ahmad Amin, okay. Who else from the other section? Anyone from section 1? Section 1. Ahmad, I have marked you. Anyone else? Anyone else from section 1? Okay, then, okay. Have a nice day. I will see you guys tomorrow, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.